Hey guys, what's going on? Mike the Caveman Q here again for Paleo Problem Island, MikeTheCaveman.com. And today's question is, how can we minimize dietary mold exposure?
I'm the caveman.
And the answer is, stop eating moldy food. Alright, seriously though, we've talked about the potential deleterious effects of mold exposure. Now, there are a number of different ways this can happen. Most commonly, we're looking at exposure through a building, whether it be a workplace, or an apartment, or a house. But you can also get exposure through diet. Now, the problem with mold exposure, besides the acute toxicity that can occur, in a percentage of the population, roughly 24%, or a quarter of American population, has variants in their HLA, or human leukocyte antigen genes, that in turn can cause a host of problems. Now, we've discussed that before, so we're not going to get too deep into that today. But the short version of it is that it can result in a systemic inflammatory response. Your whole body starts to get inflamed. Now, unfortunately, unlike many other things, the conventional blood work isn't going to show this. So it's going to look like a completely unknown cause. But in those people that are susceptible, something is going to be the precipitating event, the spark that caused those genes to get activated. It could be a tick biting you carrying Babesia or Lyme disease. It could be mold exposure. It could be algae. There are a number of different biotoxins, i.e. toxins derived from biological organisms, that can initiate this response and have long-lasting effects. So for today, let's focus on some of the foods that can produce mycotoxins or mold-derived toxins, so that if you are susceptible, you can at least pick the best choices, or if you've already been exposed, already been initiated, then you can avoid these foods. So we're looking mostly at things like grains, peanuts, coffee, chocolate. I know, it sounds terrible, but bear with me. Fermented foods, which we always talk about being great. In this case, it might not be a good idea, but that unfortunately also includes alcohol. No good. Now, you're also going to want to avoid sugary foods. So anything that has sugar added to it or is naturally present in super high amounts. So pretty much all processed foods, even fruit juices, no good. You're also going to want to potentially avoid mushrooms, which are their mycotoxins. So a bunch of different foods you're going to want to avoid if we're looking at biotoxins derived from mold. So your biggest takeaways are that biotoxins are no joke. They can cause a host of inflammatory issues. If you've had exposure, if you've had Lyme, if you've had mold exposure, if you've noticed that you have long-lasting symptoms, you're probably going to want to avoid these foods. So the chocolate, the coffee, the grains, the peanuts, the mushrooms, and all the sugar-containing foods, as well as fermented foods, those are going to be the biggest offenders. You're probably going to want to minimize and or eliminate them until you get through a protocol that can reverse it. But if you want some more information on mold exposure, on chronic inflammation, or on chronic Lyme and the effects they can all have, take a look at these videos over here. Or you can also check out Dr. Shoemaker's Surviving Mold, which is an incredible resource for issues on mold and chronic inflammatory response syndrome. But either way, hope this helped you out, guys. You know what to do. Like and subscribe down below. Share it with your friends. Head over to Instagram and Twitter and follow me at Mike the Caveman, over on Facebook at Paleo Problem Island, and of course over on MikeTheCaveman.com. That being said, have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay away from that mold, and I'll see you tomorrow. Actually, be aware of what you're doing, what your goal is, and what's going to keep you going.